Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Feby Parcella in PM G1B018104. Flood disaster mitigation. Efforts to reduce the number of fatalities and losses due to flooding, actions that need to be taken. Efforts to reduce the risk of disasters can be done by the government, the community, even from individuals themselves. Everyone's, but individuals and groups can act according to their respective roles to reduce disaster risk. Disaster risk reduction is called mitigation. The following is an explanation of the meaning of disasters mitigation and mitigation actions. Understanding mitigation in the Big Indonesian Dictionary. Mitigation is the act of reducing the impact of disasters. According to the Oxford Dictionary, mitigation is the act of reducing the severity, seriousness of or suffering of something. In the Cambridge Dictionary, mitigation is the act of reducing the level of danger, unpleasant or bad things. Mitigation activities according to Law Number 24 of 2007, mitigation activities can be carried out through spatial planning implementation, development arrangements, infrastructure development, building layout, providing education, counseling, and training, both conventional and modern. Ella Yulailawati and Usman Shihab in disaster mitigation explained that there are three ways of disaster mitigation that can be carried out by the government and the community, namely physical or structural activities, non-structural activities, combination of structural and non-structural activities. Following is an explanation of each of these mitigation efforts. 1. Physical activity or structure. Efforts to overcome the problem of flooding up to now still rely on physical activity or structure. Among others, building flood control facilities and infrastructure to modify the natural condition of the river so as to form a flood control system. This step is implemented in almost all countries in the world that experience flooding problems. The following are various types of structural activities to reduce the risk of flooding. 1. Construction of reservoirs or dams. Construction of reservoirs or dams is not only for flood control but at the same time for agricultural irrigation, power generation, tourism, and so on. 2. Construction of embankments. Construction of embankments on river banks at points prone to flooding aims to prevent water from overflowing at a certain elevation level in the floodplains. 3. Canal construction. The construction of canal aims to reduce the level of water level in the river basin by adding and diverting the direction of river flow. Also read maximizing disaster mitigation. Ministry of Social Affairs improves Tagana HR quality. 4. Interconnection development. Interconnection development aims to lower the level of river water level. 5. Construction of polders. Constructions of polders aims to collect and move water from places with low elevation to places with higher elevations using a pump engine. 6. River strengthening. River strengthening aims to expedite and accelerate the flow of water reaching the estuary. B. Non-structural activities. Non-structural activities to avoid and reduce the magnitude of problems caused by flooding. Non-structural activities include regulating land cultivation in flood plains and watersheds. The main perpetrators of non-structural activities are the community. Here are some non-structural mitigation activities. 1. Conservation of soil and water in the upper reaches of the river. Conservation of land and water in the upper reaches of the river to suppress the amount of surface runoff. Controlling the magnitude of the flood discharge and controlling erosion to reduce siltation or sedimentation in the riverbed. This activity is a combination of civil engineering and agroengineering. Water control efforts include making terraces, building buildings. Sedimentary is part of the activities of the coordination unit of disaster management carried out before the flood. Coordination of disaster management include camping and providing early warning to people living in flood-prone areas or floodplains. During a flood, countermeasures are carried out through rescue, evacuation, closure of leaking levees, post-flood activities in the form of emergency handling and repair of damage caused by floods, implementation of an early warning and forecasting system, implementation of an early warning and warning system to reduce the magnitude of a disaster if a flood does occur to support flood mitigation activities. 5. Safeguards against floods are carried out by individuals, private parties, or community groups to deal with flood problems locally. For example, in residential or industrial complexes through activities such as building a lift, polder, and pumping. 6. Mapping of floodplains. Mapping of floodplains is making maps covering areas affected by flooding, flood frequency analysis and damage reports, slope maps, and other related maps such as land use, vegetation, population density, and maps infrastructure maps. 7. Supervision of law enforcement. Supervision of law enforcement on the role of the community is complying with the provisions on the use of spatial planning and the pattern of cultivation of floodplains and upstream watersheds to avoid the narrowing and shallowing of the river channel due to solid water of buildings or houses and plants along the river banks. Also read BMKG makes new solve regarding tsunami mitigation warnings in the Sunda Strait. 8. Determination of river borders is supported by law enforcement. Each boundary river must be demarcated by regional regulation. 9. Community education and education. Community education and education about flooding is carried out through various media. The aim is to increase understanding, care, and the role of the community. 10. Poverty reduction. Many poor people in urban areas are forced to inhabit river banks that are supposed to be free of occupancy because they are very dangerous to life safety. Dryland farming communities in the upstream watershed are also generally poor, so that is difficult to implement farming patterns that support soil and water conservation efforts. C. Combination of structural and non-structural efforts. Each type of structural effort in the form of physical infrastructure can stand alone or be combined with non-structural efforts. The combination of structural and non-structural forms an integrated flood control system. The combination of these two types of efforts serves to minimize the magnitude of the flood problem, even though we cannot free ourselves from the flood problem absolutely. An example of a country that has made a combined effort in Japan. The condition and problems of each river differ, so that the determination of an optimal flood recognition system in each river must pass through study by comparing several alternative possibilities. Facing a flood. To deal with floods, preparatory actions can be taken before a flood occurs, when a flood occurs, and after a flood occurs. Actions that can taken in dealing with floods include: A. Actions to prepare for flooding. The following actions can be taken before a flood occurs. 1. Make sure you have enough boat supplies for family members. 2. Ensure adequate food and medical supplies. 3. Have the RT or agency number that can be contacted. 4. Store important documents and papers in a plastic or waterproof box. 5. Save copies of important documents and documents to relatives or trust people who live in areas not affected by flooding. 6. Immediately raise equipment or electrical cables before being hit by the flood to a higher place that is not reachable by flood water. 7. Clean the main drains that run into the house. 8. Always hear information about weather developments. 9. Follow evacuation orders issued by the government and existing disaster officials. B. Action during a flood. Actions when a flood can be taken by individuals. include 1. Check whether yourself or those around you are injured. If necessary, give first aid. 2. Remember to help people who need special assistance such as babies, elderly people, and people with disabilities. 3. Don't drink water except after cooking, and don't use polluted water to wash kitchen utensils and clothing. 4. Don't let children play in flood water. Listen to emergency information. 5. Follow the contingency plan in your disaster environment. Action that must be taken by the authorities or the government include 1. Lower the rescue team and its equipment. 2. Providing medical assistance. 3. Providing food aid to the victims. 4. Evacuate the victims. C. Action after the flood disaster actions that can be taken by the community or individuals. 1. Clean the house or residence. 2. Together with other residents to help improve the environment. Action that can be done by the authorities of the government. 1. Hold a temporary shelter or refuge. 2. Providing food and medical assistance to refugees and victims. 3. Provide sanitation for victims who are in refugee camps. 4. Conduct surveillance of the dangers of infectious disease. 5. Perform repair and reconstruction of flood-affected areas. 6. Creating new jobs. 7. Assist the recovery of small business and fisheries. 8. Regreening deforested land. Recognize the causes of floods in DKI Jakarta. 1. High rainfall to land surface is lower than sea level. 3. Located in a basin surrounded by hills with a narrow overflow of water. 4. Many settlements are built on plains along rivers. 5. The river flow is not smooth due to the large amount of garbage and buildings along the river. 6. Lack of lines cover in the headwater of the river. Action to reduce the impact of floods. 1. Arrangement of watersheds in an integrated manner and in accordance with land functions. 2. Development of an early warning and monitoring system in a part of the river that often causes flooding. 3. Don't build houses and settlements on the banks of the river. 4. Don't throw garbage into the river and routinely hold a river dredging program. 5. Installation of pumps for areas lower than sea level. 6. The upstream river reforestation program must always be implemented, accompanied by a reduction in activity in the flood-prone areas. What to do before flooding occurs? 1. Together with relevant authorities and the nearest earth management, clean the surrounding environment, especially in waterways or gutters from landfills. 2. Determine the exact location of the flood post to evacuate, complete with public kitchen facilities, along with clean water supply through coordination with relevant authorities. 3. Together with the RT management, immediately form a flood management team at the community level, one of which appoints the person in charge of the flood post. 4. Coordinate through RT local village councils and for the procurement of ropes, mines, rubber boats, and buoys for evacuation. 5. Also make sure the communication equipment is ready to us in order to make it easier to find information, ask for help, or make confirmation. 6. Check out the latest information via television, radio, or community team warnings about rainfall and water conditions. 7. Equip yourself with safety equipment, including battery radios, flashlights, gas lighters, and candles. 8. Prepare easy food items and clean water supplies. 9. Prepare emergency medication. 10. Secure important documents. What to do when flooding? Turn off the electricity in the house or contact plan to turn off electricity in the affected area. 2. Evacuate to safe areas as early as possible when standing water is still possible to be. What to do after the flood? 1. Immediately clean the house, especially the floor, then use an antiseptic to kill germs. 2. Search and prepare clean water to avoid contacting their diseases, then off the page after upload. Okay, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.